This episode of Nintendo Pow Block is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pow Block and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block 2024. It's the Nintendo Game of the Year episode, and I'm your host, the enlightened and excited Eddie V. And joining me, of course, it's the one, the only, Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick. Hello, good sir. Yes.
Hello. I've arrived. I'm here. This 2024. We are going to have a good time.
Boss, we are in the building for right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
so this is the first episode of the year, obviously. We're recording this on New Year's Day, but it's not going up till whatever a week from today is, the 8th, I guess, or the 9th, I guess would be. So, we're trying to get ahead on a couple things, but technically everybody's still on break until next week. But Ed, we had a good, I had a good break. We did our Boss Rush Bossies Game of the Year discussion already. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. So yeah, break's been pretty busy. Pretty busy. How was your break, Ed? How was your Christmas? How was your New Year's? How's life?
So, my Christmas, I had to work, everybody. I had to work that whole day. But I did get to game after Christmas. Catching up on a lot of Xbox stuff. I will say that. And the reason why I have been playing a lot of Xbox is to get ready for our Game of the Year discussion, and for our bossies, for the Boss Rush awards. So I have been playing a lot of that stuff, and of course, being a Nintendo fan that I am, fighting hard for Nintendo to be recognized and everything.
Wait, you're a Nintendo fan?
Yes, I am.
Oh, whoops.
So I've been doing that. My hand's been healing with my finger. My doctor said I have to keep washing it more. But he said I don't have to work. I don't have to use my case around my finger when I'm home. He said go ahead and take it off, but when I go to work, make sure that I have it on and everything. So I've been doing that. Just catching up on a lot of like backlog stuff for 2023, and a lot of stuff that I needed to start and finish and everything. So I've been doing that. Been getting into some good writing and stuff. And that's what I kind of been up to and everything. And kind of just looking forward to 2024, planning out what I want to do more. Definitely get back into more writing and stuff. Here for Boss Rush. And just could start working, like really being more dedicated to playing more Nintendo games and speaking out to them. There's going to be an expression pass. Give you guys a head up about the indie games, because I felt like this 2023 indie games kind of fell by the wayside due to the fact that there was so much great stuff on all three consoles and even PC that came out from major publishers, first party and third party. And so like I kind of want to have we're going to have a discussion about kind of what just happened for indies this year, in a sense. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was just listening. I was just hanging out. Trying to hide a cough.
Oh,
which I didn't do very successfully. So, whoops.
so but that's kind of how my Christmas and holiday was. I did get some gift cards. I got some cash. I got a new tire for my car. uh yeah,
Wow.
and pretty much it still hasn't like fully snowed here yet, so haven't experienced like a winter just yet. So, which is fine by me. You know,
Mm.
don't have to deal with the snow, don't have to deal with traffic and anything and stuff. New Year's, I got to sing at my friend's church in the morning and at night. But we had kind of been dead at work because of New Year's and stuff. And I knew people were gonna come in, and that's for alcohol, and like we don't sell it and everything.
Shocker.
Um, so there was one customer confused us. He was trying to return some red and green holiday M&Ms, and we can't take no more holiday stuff back at my job. And he was just like, "Oh, you can't. We'll see what Charles had to think." And me and the cashier were just like, "Who is Charles?" Just like, because Charles don't work here and he's not the head of the company. Like, do you know? She's like, I don't know. Do you? I was just like, that's news to me. And so we need to see Charles and where he comes from. Is
Oh,
he a ghost?
Charles.
Right?
That Charles.
Does Charles have a W-2 for Illinois? I need to see that. So we was cracking up about that and everything. Um,
Oh
but yeah,
man,
that's
when I
kind
used to
of.
work at the restaurant, we used to get stuff like that all the time. Like especially when we started serving alcohol,
Uh-huh.
people would just come in and be like, "Well, I'm going to talk to Dave." And we're all like, "Who's Dave?
Who's Dave?
There's
Like,
not a Dave that works here."
right. So
So,
he must have thought we was CVS or something, because I was just like, I'm sorry, sir. This is Walgreens. We do not know who a Charles is. So yeah, just that stuff right there. And and for just to let people know, um, like New Year's, this is the day that we're recording is my first day off for the year. Um, like New Year's Eve was like my last day to work for 2023, and everything. And I don't go back to work until Wednesday, so I'll be gaming some more, uh, and stuff, and getting and cleaning and doing things like that. But that's kind of how my like holiday went. Definitely playing a lot of games and stuff, just like really enjoying it. All the gameplay and stuff. I still got Armor Core 6 that I need to get. Um, that one I still need to get for last year, but I'm excited for 2024, because I think the first physical game that I am definitely buying is Prince of Persia. Um,
yeah, Prince of Persia looks good, man. It's on my most anticipated list at least as of right as of, today. That could
yeah,
change by the time it comes out and be like, "Oh man, that was disappointing." But yeah, Prince of Persia, man. That game's going to be good.
yeah, because I think what Prince of Persia, Star Wars Outlaws, uh, Princess Peach, um, of course, Dark Luigi's Mansion. Hopefully Metro Prime 2. I mean Prime 4. Of course Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Like that's a given. Tekken 8 is a big one definitely for me. So like having Prince of Persia and Tekken 8 this month in January, I'm super excited about. And like really at this time, Corey, I don't know about the Nintendo Direct. Like we literally when that Nintendo Direct comes out, whenever they show it, we know there's going to be Princess Peach and Luigi and Paper Mario, but like outside of that, I have no idea what Nintendo has planned. Literally, like
I mean, I think it's going to be what we kind of predicted last year. When I think Nintendo. This is, I mean, this is going to be the last year for the Switch as the major primary console, right? I
Hmm.
mean, we've kind of already gone over that 100 times and stated our piece and whatever. But I think this year is going to be pretty light in terms of major releases. I mean, we're going to probably get like one or two, right? I mean, Princess Peach, I'm sure they're probably trying to set up as their tent pole first quarter game, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
their only new game that's announced at the moment. Everything else is a remake or a remaster.
yeah,
Uh, so I bet we'll get a bunch. I mean, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, I bet are shoe-ins this year. Which we'll get into that on the next episode is actually going to be our 2024 preview episode, where we're going to kind of go over those games, the games that have been announced, what we expect,
yeah.
and then there'll be an expansion pass tied to that for Nintendo Direct predictions and stuff like that. I still don't think the new console's coming out this year.
Mm-mm, no.
You and I have talked a lot, and I 20 spring 2025 is what I'm predicting. It's what I've heard. It's what I've thought forever. Especially if they are going to kind of support the Switch the way they did 3DS. Maybe for 2 years after, that makes the most sense in my mind. But you know,
Yeah, yeah. Because, dude, literally, I know I put out on a tweet out, and I was just like, this year, I feel like Nintendo needs to be challenged by Microsoft. Like game related wise, they need to be challenged because I'm not knocking Nintendo killing the game for the last 7 years and stuff like that, 7, 8 years. But I'm like, Microsoft, you guys need to challenge Nintendo because you got a powerful system. You got some great developers. You just got to put some games out to make us be like, ooh, Nintendo might not get nothing this year. Like, I want to see Microsoft really challenge them because, like, for the last couple of years, Microsoft and Sony, they haven't really challenged Nintendo in games. Nah.
yeah. I mean, Microsoft needs some games. Sony needs some games too. I mean, Nintendo seems to be the only one that's consistently producing first party, which is the opposite of the conversations we've been having for I don't know how long. How long we've been doing this? 8 years, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
you know that's something we haven't said a lot of. That Nintendo is the one that's consistently putting out games. Now, granted, Sony is kind of riding on momentum, and Microsoft has a ton announced, and obviously they've been acquiring studios left and right and all that kind of stuff. But uh, as of right now, Nintendo's the only one producing, and they're on their on their you know we're heading into year 7 in March. So
Right. I think Microsoft probably got more announced games than the releases, where Nintendo got more releases than announced games.
yeah,
So,
I don't know. I'm looking forward to this swan song year, I would say.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but the thing is like we got some awesome games in 2023. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we're going to talk about it now, but 2023 was incredible. I mean, it kicked off with a mainline Fire Emblem game, which I actually played a little bit of it over break just because I knew this conversation was coming up and I needed to play more of it to uh, have a better discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also, it kicked off with that, and then we got a Bayonetta prequel. We got a lot of great remakes and remasters this year. We got a new Zelda and a new Mario game. Like, I mean, this was, I mean, the only game that was missing, I feel like this year out of stuff that's been regularly coming out is like a Xenoblade expansion, which I think we got some DLC this year. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Future Redeem. We got
yeah,
that in
oh yeah, that's
February.
right. I forgot that came out. So yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered turned out to be way more than a remaster. It felt
Exactly.
like. Um, so we got a lot. We got a lot this year, Ed. How
Yes,
do
we
you? I
did.
mean, how did you feel about 2023 overall?
Oh, I just thought it was a banger year for Nintendo. Like outside of sales, game wise, I'm like, I this might be the most historic year for Nintendo. For Metacritic wise, I've been saying this in our discussions, and everybody probably tired of me saying it. But three
Mhm.
first party titles in the '90s on Metacritic in one year, two of them new, whether regardless of them being sequels, two new games in a remaster. That's crazy,
Mhm.
and then just like giving us a variety. And yeah, Detective Pikachu 2 might Detective Pikachu Returns may not be the hit. The lowest game really for Switch was Everybody Want to Switch, and that was expected because nobody was asking for it. That's the lowest one, but I'm like, it's still part of like uh a a great library of first party games coming
Well,
out.
it's like I told you. I know every. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No, go
but
ahead.
just to go on to the 1-2 switch thing, just to make a quick point that anybody out there can laugh at me or whatever. But like, I know everybody in the gaming space, quote unquote, made fun of it, but my nephews are obsessed with 1-2 switch, like both of them, and they are obsessed with like those types of games. And I mean, they're both pretty big into Minecraft and Fortnite, and uh my one nephew's getting pretty into Apex Legends right now, and like I'm like, man. Oh, also the other thing, side tangent, real quick, just real quick. Uh, my one nephew came over, and he really loves Spider Man. He's like really obsessed with Miles Morales, and
Mm,
my nephew looks just like him from the games and stuff. And he was playing. He wanted to play Spider Man because he was playing as him in Fortnite, right? Like the
yeah,
Miles skin and all this other stuff. So I popped Spider-Man 2 in on the PlayStation. And he's like, so what am I supposed to do? I'm like, I don't know, go find a mission and do it. He's like, what do you mean a mission? Like, because like he plays Minecraft and Fortnite. There's not missions, there's checklists, right? Like quest
yeah.
checklists that get this many kills or whatever. He's like, and after he did a couple, he's like, wait, it's like I'm playing through a movie. I'm like, yeah, that's what most video games are. They're not all Fortnite and Minecraft. Like you actually get to play through a story, and it's kind of like you're the star of the movie. And he was like super fascinated about it, and I was like, oh man, man, it just kind of like it was kind of fun slash scary to deliver that news to him, um but back to 1-2 switch, like they're obsessed with those games. They love playing those games, and that's why Nintendo keeps putting them out, because those games do well. It's the same as Mario Party, although we haven't gotten as many as I thought we were going to get this generation, to be 100% honest. uh
Well, we got what, three Mario parties? I think
Two.
this year. Two.
Well, oh, I mean, on Switch
Yeah.
we have two Switch games, and then we have the
Then it's
N64 ones on
okay.
NSO. And then one of the Switch releases is just remakes of old boards. This Mario Superstars, which I played some of. Guess what? Mario Party still rules when you're playing with people who aren't super competitive and just want to have a good time. Uh,
It's so crazy thinking about that. And I gotta research it. There, just from Nintendo's own IPs, there have been two games in that franchise or more, that have came out. Like we got, if we talking about new games, I should say. If you look at Mario, just from a platform perspective, we got Mario. We got Mario Odyssey and then Mario Wonder. I would have count Mario the level one
Mario Maker.
Mario Maker 2. I would have considered that, but that's more for a maker game. and stuff. But like stuff that's straight designed by Nintendo. I'm not adding ports or anything like 3D World plus Bowser. I'm not adding that, but I'm just talking about like new stuff. From 'em.
Hmm.
With Zelda, we got, even though Breath of the Wild was kind of a launch game, um, we got that, and we got Tears of the Kingdom. Fire Emblem, we got Engage and Three Houses. Metroid, we got Dread and Prime Remastered for the Metroid series. In a sense, even though it just would have been Dread, uh, from that, but like we got stuff in those categories and everything. Two
Hmm.
Splatoons, um, and what else? Yeah, that's why I would have to look it up and like just go to stuff that a lot of their own IPs they put out two games from that one IP. Smash and Mario Kart is just one each, but they added more to Smash and added more to Mario Kart 8. So it's an
Hmm.
interesting year for Nintendo. Um, this
Yeah.
to say. So yeah, even with the Steam OLED and a rack, is it ROG Ally?
Hmm.
Uh, but even with those systems coming out, Nintendo still did a phenomenal job of having games come out and people buying the system and buying indies and third party and stuff on it. So um they went strong this year, and they're hopefully planning to see what they could do for this year and 2025. Um,
Yeah. Nintendo's killing it still. You know what also I think Nintendo's advantage is, especially because, there's a lot of topics of conversation around budgets and, you know, I mean, did you see that article that came out that Sony doesn't consider $100 million game a high budget game anymore?
yeah,
It's like, oh my gosh, man, like that they don't even consider that a AAA game anymore. Now, granted, that could have been under Jim Ryan, and they might change depending on whatever it's coming up, but still, like Spider Man, it came out that Spider Man was like $312 million or something. Was the budget on that game, and Nintendo's still working within the confines of a strict budget. I mean, for the most part, and they're still making quality titles. And I mean, Zelda is probably their most expensive title by far at this
yes.
point. But still, I bet Zelda was cheaper to make than anything Sony's made this generation or last.
Oh heck
It,
yeah!
you
And
know,
and regardless of what Zelda's budget really was, they made that money back probably within the day of release, or
yeah.
within that. I mean, 10 million copies in 3 days. That's seven
Hmm.
hundred plus some dollars,
Hmm.
or 600 plus some dollars, I should say, because the retail gets their part and all of that. And we haven't even included what the digital version or how that did. I'm like, they they made bukus of money of over their budget. They recouped that budget and then made more.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not. I think the inevitable budget crashes of these companies, right? I mean, so I say that, but I guess Sony would really technically be the only one in trouble of this, right? Because Microsoft can sustain it because they're Microsoft, and
Right.
Nintendo doesn't work on, you know, not every one of their games is a $300 million title, right? I mean, like I said, Zelda might be the one, and that's just because it got delayed, and they're such perfectionists that they're, you know, keep working on it. But it's not like Zelda. It's not like every game that comes out is going to be a 300 $400 million title, right? I mean,
Right.
everybody's talking about GTA and how that's going to be a what was the number they were throwing around, $1 billion budget by the
Yeah.
time marketing's done and the development is done. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, why I get it. Like, the new GTA looks beautiful, right? uh Gameplay aside, which, by the way, I don't know if we had this conversation on here, but I downloaded GTA 5 because I was like, I was interested enough in GTA 6 that I was going to give the old ones a try. Dude, I played probably an hour of GTA 5 and the controls were so bad. I deleted it within an hour of me playing it. It was not very fun. Not going to lie to you.
and
I wish it was
I
better, but it was
and
not.
I suffered through that whole game to beat it.
Oh,
Oh,
I
you
didn't.
haven't, dude. You haven't even gotten to the flying mechanics of that game. You would have been like, "What the world is this?"
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just not gonna do that.
I, and I think, and I'm not gonna knock anybody love for GTA
No, I'm not either.
because,
I'm just saying that the controls gave me a headache, and I am not going to. That makes me like, unless the controls change for GTA 6, which they might. I mean, granted, GTA 5 is 11 years old at this point.
mm,
Like, they might, but my point is I became less excited for 6 because of the controls of 5. So if you haven't played 5 in a while and you're excited for 6, just don't go back.
uh, I mean,
Just wait it out.
the trailer for GTA 6 looks good, but there still is no game. That what they show doesn't represent what the game is going to actually be,
Yeah.
and how it's going to actually look and stuff. And
Look,
so I'm not going to knock it or anything, but man, one of my friends just got done playing Sleeping Dogs, and I'm like, Sleeping Dogs is just like the perfect example of an open world game and tight gameplay.
see, I thought Sleeping Dogs was pretty bad too, but
Really?
yeah, the controls for Sleeping Dogs are pretty bad in my
Oh,
opinion.
shoot, the controls was easy to do to get used because it was just like Batman Arkham Asylum, really, with better controls when you're driving and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I played it. Maybe my opinion will have changed,
Mm.
especially on a new console and a new system, but when I played it, I thought that game was not very good.
Yeah,
But I mean, whatever. People like it, people like it. It's not my, you know, whatever. I
cup of
like
tea.
bad games, you know, whatever. Whatever. Speaking of bad games, Ed, we have
Yes,
some things to go over before we get to we're going to read our top 10 games of the year here. And I mean, I guess I really didn't. We'll talk about the year in review after our top 10 games for a little bit, but
yes,
um and we got some feedback on Patreon specifically, that people who subscribe in December and January kind of feel like they're not getting the content, which they aren't because we take 3 weeks off, right? Uh,
yes.
the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January. So I want to make it a point this year to not miss a week, even if we have to record in advance. Uh, and I I understand because I have been at the jobs where I listen to the podcasts to get me through the shifts or whatever, and when they're not there, it makes it a lot harder, and I understand that. And so now that we've kind of skipped the first week of January, I really don't want to miss any weeks this year for any of the content, even if we all have to record, you know, double up at some point or
Mm,
record ahead, or you know what I mean.
yeah.
Um, that was some. So when we go through when I go through exit surveys, I kind of read why people left, and that was like the biggest one when we lost people last year at this time. And we lost a couple. We gained a couple, but we also lost a couple, and that was kind of their thing. Is like, I don't feel like I'm getting what I paid for in December and January. Now maybe they'll come back in February, and whatever. Maybe they're sticklers for their subscriptions, but that's something that I think we need to address this year is that, and also, Ed, you and I had our end of year Pow Block meeting.
Yes.
Um, we are going to try to be more consistent with the show, and not that we haven't been, but we have some segments that we utilize sometimes and not other times, and so starting after the next episode, we are going to kind of really uh, try to fill out those segments as best as we can uh,
Hmm.
every week. So just to, I don't know, I want the show to be the best it possibly can be, and sometimes we record super late and we're kind of tired, and I know you work long shifts, and I get up early, so when we record late, I'm tired sometimes, and I would like to get our energy level more consistent. Uh,
Yes.
we kind of talked about that as well. But I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about anything that you had thoughts on or anything before we kind of talk about Pow Block for the rest of the year.
Yes. Well, I know one of the things that we talked about is like really staying focused on Nintendo, and if there's like news stories or opinions about other companies, we're trying to kind of discuss them, but like do it more or less. If we have an expansion pass, and sometimes our expansion pass may not all be Nintendo. It may be uh other companies or news stories that we could really flesh out that discussion. We're gonna try to have those conversations, especially if it's like breaking news, that that informs everybody. Like maybe we'll come later on that night to record something or have our say when we do get to that expansion pass. Um, so that's kind of the thing that we are going to be trying to work on, and stuff, because I know there was a point in time that we did focus on a lot of Microsoft stuff, and we did that for a reason, because it was bigger news than what Nintendo had, than any
Yeah,
other Nintendo news and stuff, and we were just reacting to hearing that news. Yes, it wasn't a good thing for Power Block, but sometimes that stuff is related to Nintendo because it comes up in that story and it is a being part of the conversation and everything. So
yeah,
that's the kind of the thing that we're gonna try to work on. I know we talked about Microsoft in this intro and everything, but that just shows us, or showed you guys, I should say, that we're rooting for Microsoft. We want them to do a great job because they do make fantastic games, and people who love their console and love the work of those companies, we want to see them have more, just like we have with Nintendo. We love Nintendo, and Nintendo fed us a lot of games throughout the Switch library, and we want to see that for Microsoft. I personally want Microsoft to have a rich library of games for Series X. you
yeah.
know
I On that point, I just want to say too, like even we're going to try to be more um thoughtful of when we talk about other consoles, but we're still going to be talking about the other consoles in the way that it pertains to Nintendo kind of moving forward, like Ed said,
Mhm.
right? Like we're going to kind of curate that stuff and make sure like we're not just talking about Xbox because we like Xbox. We're going to talk about Xbox because XYZ is happening and this is how it affects the Switch, or these are their games that are coming to Switch, right? Like if some rare games come to NSO, or if they decide to make a new Banjo Kazooie and they make it multi-platform and they bring it to Switch or something, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Or
One
if
of
they
the
have any
ex
partnerships, that
yeah,
kind of thing.
one of the ex Nintendo employees is now in charge of Bethesda. Um I know that was news from last year, but I was just like, "Oh, really?" Like it's this female lady who used to work at Nintendo. Now she's working at Bethesda, and so I'm just like, "Oh, if they got someone from Nintendo working running through Bethesda, we're definitely going to see a change, and it's going to be interesting to see what she does with that company."
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of that. we're gonna. I mean, we have a segment called the other side or the rumor mill. We're gonna try to bring those segments in as often as we can as it pertains to those consoles. But we're also gonna be. I think we need to be more nitty gritty about the news too.
Hmm.
We usually pick the bigger stories and leave the smaller ones out. And I don't know that I feel like some of that smaller stuff is like what hardcore fans care about. And I don't know if we've done a good enough job of doing that this past year. And so I think we're going to start doing that too, even if it has, you know, 8 or 9 stories uh, into the news section. So,
Yes.
but anyways, I'm happy with how Pow Block did this year. Our numbers are up, and uh, it's just and it's a new year. It's time to keep growing, time to keep going. So
New year, new season.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's a new season. I would just say it's a you know.
Well, this always like a new season. You know how
No,
we.
you say that all the time, and it's not. It's the same.
Hey, Corey, if there's a change and stuff, because I do feel like sometimes that even though it may feel the same, um, there might be different segments or there might be different things. Um, and so, and me, I'm like, if I feel like there's a lot of new stuff coming, I'll be like, hey, it's a new season for us and stuff. Nothing wrong with having a new season. We're not
Yeah,
in
but
our
that
new season
implies that we're a
yet.
seasonal show, and we're not. We're
I
an
mean,
annual show.
of course, but I'm just like, hey, a new season, just it,
Yeah.
it feels right to me. That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, but yeah, also we are aiming to bring expansion pass back every week at some point this year. I don't know if it's going to be right away or if we're going to maybe aim for a Q2 kind of expansion pass every week, but I know people really want that. Uh, and so we're kind of working on that schedule and maybe even putting it out on a different day because book club comes out on Sundays, and that would interrupt that schedule. I don't want 2 pieces of content coming out on the same day, so we'll figure that out.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts. Well, Ed,
So, yes.
should we do this Game of the Year stuff?
Yes. Let's get into our top 10 games of 2023 for Nintendo Switch.
All right, are we just going to go back and forth like we usually do? Like I pick one, you pick one, I pick one, you pick one type
Yes.
thing? Okay.
Yes.
So I actually I had trouble picking my games this year because I played a lot of Switch this year, but I played a lot of just a few games.
Hmm.
And so I was like not scrambling, but like looking through lists of like what games even came out this year and which games came out on Switch and which games, you know, came out but were on other consoles last year and all this other stuff. So I have a list, and I would say I'm pretty happy with my list. Are you happy with your list, Ed?
Oh,
Now,
yes.
I'm just gonna say real quick, one of my uh picks, Ed, is I feel some eye rolls coming out, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. For me, it was just like placing my probably like top five, top six, and then getting to the bottom, just like what would fill my bottom because I did play a lot, um, but it was kind of just like which do I place and where do I place it at and everything. Like
Hmm.
definitely for my top three, easiest thing to do. It's always that. It's just like my top stuff is easier to do. My bottom stuff is always hard to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would say my top six were actually really easy this year. It's those last four where you're kind of like, oh, I don't know. Do I
Right.
put this on? Do I not? Um, so I also on at least on the Boss Rush podcast, we have the caveat of it had to have come out this year, and we don't count remakes or remasters unless it is voted on that is significant enough to that change the game enough, like the way that Resident Evil 2 did, or the way that Final Fantasy 7 remake did, right? Where
Hmm.
it's essentially a completely new game. But we're not doing that here because we don't want to,
Yeah.
essentially. All right. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to? I'll go first. I'll go first. So my number 10, also the caveat here is that Ed and I will do an overall game of the year after our Bossy Awards are out. Uh, and we'll do an expansion pass on our 2023 games of the year as a whole. But these are only games that released on Nintendo Switch. They don't have to be
Yes.
exclusive, but they do have to have released on Nintendo Switch. So
Yes.
uh, here we go, Ed. You're gonna appreciate this one, Ed. My number 10 game for 2023 is none other than Lunark from our friends over at Way Forward. Way Forward published it. It was developed by
Ooh.
Canary Games. It's essentially it's like a flashback style platformer, like the game Flashback, not like a retro platformer, but like the game Flashback.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that the game was really interesting and fun, and I had never really played a game like that before, where like the platforming is super deliberate and the puzzles are challenging because of the way the mechanics of the game work. I want to say the pixel art and the pixel animation is incredible. It's some of the best pixel animation I've ever seen in a video game. I'm not saying like running and jumping, that kind of animation. I'm talking about like the cutscenes that they've created are all
Hmm.
pixel. And I would just go look it up. It's available on everything, but I played it on Switch, and we talked to Way Forward after this game came out. Not necessarily about this game, but it's it's really cool. It's like $14.99, I want to say. I'm not exactly sure how much the game is, to be honest. But it was really fun, and yeah, I think if you are interested in puzzle platformers, you should definitely check it out. Uh, so yeah, that's my number 10 game, Lunark from Canary Games and Way Forward.
All right. My number 10 is Star Ocean, the second story R, by Tri-Ace Gem Drops Incorporated and Square Enix. I really love this game. I haven't finished it yet because of some other games that came out. But man, just put it in the time where I'm grinding. It's a good podcast, album listening game. Great voice acting. It gets really challenging later on in the game. It's like action based uh time I just well not time battle, but it's like it zooms you in and then you start doing the actions and you start fighting and stuff. And it gets kind of like deep a little bit. It's a remake of Star Ocean, the second story. I believe I, I I'm trying to figure out if it's a remake of the PSP version. I think.
I think it
Uh,
was the PSP version because I think it's a port of the PSP version.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, did it ever come to PlayStation 1? I think.
I
Because I
it
know.
I'm sure it did, but I don't know enough about the history of Star Ocean or PlayStation to make that decision, to make that call. So,
Yeah,
uh,
the
yeah.
Star Ocean series is a really weird one. But I did play it on Switch, and it's just such a great game. With the voice acting, uh, there are kids that get murdered in this game for
Mhm.
part of the story. I'm like, oh wow. And I think it's a traditional 30 to 40 hour RPG, but it may take you longer depending on what difficulty that you are on, and everything. And I think that's what I like about this, that you do get to select your difficulty. Because there was a boss battle that I had to turn to easy because it was just whooping my tail. And I, the difficulty part is the challenge of the game, because sometimes like you are spending a lot of time grinding, and then when you get to a boss battle, it's still kicking your tail. The AI is a little cumbersome, but as a whole, it really is a great 16-bit sprite looking game, or 32-bit sprite looking game. Really enjoyed it, really had fun with it. I am halfway done with the game. I think I just gotta do about 3 more sections, and then I'll be done with it. My number 10 game is Star Ocean, the second story R. Corey, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is actually so it's a game that I actually ripped on a lot this year, and then I sat down and played more of it because I was kind of in the mood for it after
Uh-huh.
we had our game of the year discussions last week. And so my number 9 game is Fire Emblem Engage from Intelligent Systems. I
Ooh.
still think the story and the characters are very much lacking, especially because like most of the characters are characters that have appeared in the series before, and it does revolve around a new set of characters, but the story kind of relies on the older characters, and also doesn't have a lot of the three houses kind of relationship building, kind of get to know your party type thing. It has some of that, but not nearly as much as Three Houses does.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also, it reverts back to the rock paper scissors style battle system. That was kind of my only complaint about the, like, I guess from 3DS on, or what was Awakening on, 3DS or DS? 3DS, right? So
3DS.
uh yeah, I mean it's cool, it's fine. uh I think the combat is super fun, and it's definitely one of the best looking games on the Switch, I would say. Uh, but I do think the story is a little lacking. I do think the characters are a little lacking, and it relies too much on people's nostalgia for characters that they may or may not know, because a lot of those games never made it over here. I
Yeah.
think the GBA games were the first ones to come over, really, in a real way. And
Mm-hmm. Yep.
we did get the NES port earlier last year, right? I think of or maybe 2022, I guess. Uh, but yeah, I mean, again, the combat's fun. It's great. I think a lot of the ring kind of mechanic is really interesting, and I like the bonds that you kind of build with those characters. But at the end of the day, I think I think Fire Emblem Engage leaves a lot to be desired by people who may not have been playing since the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, so that I just think Fire Emblem has evolved past this simple strategy game with no bells and whistles, right? I think the way that Awakening kind of opened up the relationship uh kind of battle mechanic, and then Fates kind of did that with Birthright, not so much Conquest. And then Three Houses, I think, made that series way more popular than it had ever been, because Persona started getting popular, and
Mm-hmm.
this had those types of mechanics in it. And then this one just did not. And I think this game left a lot to be desired to people who picked it up because of what Three Houses did for the series.
Yeah, Three Houses just set the bar very high,
Yeah.
and it really feels like the new evolution of the Fire Emblem series, because just like you said, Engage is more of a traditional, and that's because Intelligent System did the development. The past games have been by Kobe Tecmo and Intelligent Systems, like a combination, like them working together to make those games. And I kind of feel like I think Kobe Tecmo was able to bring a lot to the table along with Intelligent System, where um it just put such a high bar and a high mark, because people don't realize, Three Houses sold out like twice. They ran out of physicals, got more shipments in, and ran out of physicals again. And everybody was just saying who was the best house. There was a lot of discussion, and people have just like been replaying it, trying to see all the endings and battles and everything. And having their own personal choice. And I guess Three Houses just had so much to offer that Engage just didn't have. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the look of Engage. The music is phenomenal in Engage. But it may not hold everybody's uh need to play more of it or anything. And it's nothing against Far Intelligence System, because they are a great team and it is their property and everything. But I think it was just because of the goodness and the quality of Three Houses just set the high bar that people's expectations thought they were going to get that and more in a sequel, but unfortunately it did not. So
Yeah. So that's my number 9. Again, fun, super fun game in terms of the combat, but leaves a lot to be desired in between. So
yes. My number 9 is Metro Prime Remastered. And I put this down low and as my number 9 is because, of course, I played the GameCube version. Um, love this game. And the reason I didn't play it, put it higher, it is because it is a remaster. It looks beautiful once well, but it's stuff that I did before, and everything. And of course, I held out to the physical like a lot of other people. So that's kind of just my only reason why it's low. It's still a phenomenal game. I still love the searching, the music. I still love the boss battles and everything. Like I still think it's a 10 out of 10. Like no matter what, it's a 10 out of 10. Um, but it's just low. It's low because I already experienced what the game has to offer. It's just with this remaster, it looks literally beautiful. It plays better than the GameCube version. I really love the fact that they went in with the controls and fixed a lot of stuff. Like I can still play like the GameCube version if I want to, but I think I'm so used to the new controls that it just feels so buttery smooth uh playing that game. So my number 9 is Metro Prime Remastered. Like I'm happy it did the way that it like with the sales and stuff, that people they did double dip. They got the digital and they got the physical version. And I'm happy that this game did release. I know it was rumored to be happening. We just didn't know when or if it was. And when it dropped this February at the Nintendo Direct, everybody just lost their mind, and Nintendo made coin off of it. And plus, it was like what, $40, $40 or $50. I think it wasn't a $60 game or anything. It was like really cheap.
it was 40. I th-
That's
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that's
40.
good for a remaster that looks this good.
I mean, I'm shocked Nintendo didn't charge 60 for this.
Yeah,
They are, yeah, I mean, you know how they are, for better or for worse. They hold their quality, they think everything they sell is a $60 game and will forever be a $60 game. But uh, you know,
Yes. So
so
you're number 8, Corey.
my number 8. Let's see, where's my list? Here we go. Okay, so my number 8 is so this is a game I've been playing a lot of recently, and I had never played the original. But it's charming. It's real simple, but it's charming and it's a beautiful looking game. Um, Super Mario RPG, the
Ooh.
remake. Um, it's I'm really, I don't know. It feels old, but you know how Nintendo can, and I guess Square Enix and one of the Dragon Quest teams did this remake. I think it was one of the Monster Quest or Dragon Quest Monsters uh, teams that did this remake. But I think that they did a great job in terms of keeping the spirit of the old game while making this feel new and kind of fresh in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and having those charming characters back in a way that um, when you play, sometimes when you play an older game that you have a lot of nostalgia for, and you go back and play it and you're like, man, I don't know, like Goldeneye, I guess, would be an example of this, not the best example in terms of relating to this, but I had a ton of fun playing Goldeneye when I was little, and then you turn it on and it runs at like 14 frames a second, single stick first person shooter on the Nintendo 64. It's not very good. Not very good. uh but Nintendo does a great job of bringing back what's old and making it feel new again. And this game definitely does that. You can definitely see the bones of where the Mario and Luigi RPG specifically came from.
Mm-hmm.
I playing this, everybody's like, well, Paper Mario feels like this game too. I would say the Mario and Luigi games are more of the true successor to this than Paper Mario. At least those early Paper Mario games, right? Like,
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like the Mario and Luigi games are definitely the successors to this. And so, yeah, I mean, I recommend it if you like the Mario and Luigi RPGs, since it seems like we're not getting one anytime soon. Uh, but yeah, Super Mario RPG, pretty good.
Yes. I return back to the isometric turn-based style that Persona used to do earlier back in this day, and now it doesn't do anymore. So yeah. Well, my number 8 is Have a Nice Death. This is by Magic Design Studios and Gearbox Publishing. This is a roguelike um 2D platformer slash action game. Um, you play as Death, and you're running a company that claims souls and everything, and things go awry, and so you are trying to get things back in order so you could go and take a vacation. Um, and every time you die you go on a new run, even though you gain some things permanently and you could upgrade, the levels change and your decisions on where to go also changes, and everything. And if you defeated a boss and you die, um hopefully you get an elevator so you can skip parts of it, but if not, you have to go back and fight that same boss again. And you can defeat them quicker depending on how stronger your weapon is. It's a beautiful game, really funny. When I looked at it, I considered it as an indie game, but then when I seen Gearbox have the publishing deal to it, I kind of just consider it as a third party game, like a smaller third party game in a sense. But it really is fun. It really is addictive. you probably could go through it like 3 or 5 runs trying to make progress and stuff, and it would really soak up your time. So Have a Nice Death is my number 8 game. Corey, what is your number 7 game?
My number 7 game, Ed, is another game I kind of put some time into over the break. I didn't really care for it initially, and then I just started playing it, and it just, as you progress through the game, it becomes more charming than ever. And a lot of the characters, especially one in particular, is one of the best characters of the year, in my opinion. Sea of Stars is definitely, between the music and the pixel art and the characters, and some of the battles can be kind of annoying. Especially there's some enemies that call their friends and a lot, like these bug enemies that you kind of, and I got stuck a couple times, which is kind of where I stopped playing the first time because it was kind of frustrating. Uh, but once you get past some of the quirks of the games, I actually think the puzzles that you have to solve in some of the areas are super fun.
Mhm.
Garl is the character I'm talking about that I think is one of the best characters of the year, and I think that that character alone kind of saved my will to play this game. And when I went back to it, because I want to know more about this character and what happens and everything. And yeah, the game's been spoiled for me a lot over the last couple weeks or months because it's been out for a while, right? And that's just how
Yes.
the industry goes. But Sea of Stars is a fantastic game that I think people should at least give a try. Sabotage did a really nice job with this, and the way it connects to the messenger also is interesting. We'll say.
I was kind of mad about that connection
Why?
with that. Um,
Well,
I'm
if
not
it's
gonna.
spoilery, don't say anything. But
Yeah, it's very spoilery, and so when I did beat Sea of Stars, everybody. So I will say that I did beat Sea of Stars, and I was watching what the connection was, and I kind of felt robbed of it. I'm just like, this was it. That okay.
I mean, I bet that whatever game they do next, because they're clearly building a universe, right?
Hmm.
These connections will mean more and more as you progress through these games, right? And it's not like, I think what I like about it too is like you can play Sea of Stars and have an amazing time without ever knowing the messenger exists, right?
Yes.
Um, and the connections, it's like, to me, it's like little MCU Easter eggs. Uh, before that Disney started shoving everything into every movie, but like like in Iron Man 2 when you find a prototype of Captain America's shield, and that's kind of funny, and it's
Hmm.
connected, whatever. That's the connective tissue, and that's kind of it, or that kind of thing. But I think some of these connections will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Sea of Stars connects to their next game, and like if characters ever do make that crossover, or the it does the is the I want to call him the archivist at the beginning, right? That's the character's
Yeah.
name. And the way that I want to know if that character will start introducing all of these stories somehow and end up being like the sabotage indie game universe kind of big bad at some point or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because in in reality, at this point in time, I should say, Sea of Stars is the beginning of everything
mhm,
in a sense. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
yeah. So,
So
but that's it. That's my number 7, Ed.
all right. And my number 7 is Disney Illusion Island by Dalala Studios and Disney Electronic Content. Um, I didn't know that Disney published this game. I thought it was a Nintendo first party title, like Nintendo published it and Disney did the development. Um because the way that it was just shown in the Nintendo Direct, it really didn't. I really didn't feel like it showed any Disney kind of publishing thing to it, because Nintendo and Disney have both made games together, and Nintendo has done the publishing for 'em. So that's why I kind of thought that it was it. But this game is a venture game. It's not so much Metroidvania in a sense. It's designed as a Metroid game. Uh by fighting abilities or being granted abilities, but you really can't you can't jump on enemies. uh you can't jump on the boss or anything. And you have to kind of work to upgrade your character again stronger, for health reasons. It is kind of it is easy if you have more players. It really is meant for kids, and stuff. But like the fights against the bosses are done in a puzzle manner. So if there is a child who's having problems, you could help them out solve it, or you could. I think there's like a kid mode where you're kind of invincible, so that they will feel like they're not losing but they're progressing. And things like that. Funny writing. Like they got a spot on with the writing. Animation looks beautiful. Donald Duck is Donald Duck still, which still which makes the game funny because the way that he reacts and everything and the things that he says, and stuff. And so yeah, Disney Illusion Island, such a great game. I 100%ed it. The only thing I did not do is play the game on ultra hard, because you don't get no special ending. It's just something if you want to do, because it has kind of its own achievements and stuff. Uh, the 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 last achievement that's on there is that you have to go through the whole game in one life. You cannot die. And that means that if you get touched once, you start the whole game from the very beginning. So if you were like at the last boss and you only have one more hit and he hits you, your whole thing is erased and you got to start from the beginning. I was just like, I seen the ending. I'm good.
Mm.
And I have put it away. But that is my number 7 game. Really, really good. I hope people do pick it up more. And it really is a great game to play with family and with kids and stuff.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean the big thing about that game is that there's no combat. It's all
yes.
platforming. So, um, you know, that's the I guess that would be the draw for kids and families, because combat is, some families combat's a tricky thing to manage, right? I mean,
Hmm.
you know, so cool. I didn't play it. I played a little bit of it and I didn't play it enough to consider it. So I thought about it, but I didn't play enough of it, and I thought it would be unfair to put it on my list. So
Okay. Well, what is your number 6, Corey?
okay, here's where it gets real easy for me, Ed. All right, my number 6 is Metroid Prime Remastered. Uh, it's a completely new game, as far as I'm concerned. Like the graphical fidelity,
Yeah.
the quality of life changes they made. Just changing it from a single stick to a dual stick first person shooter, like, makes all the difference. It's incredible. Like, this game makes me 1,000 times more excited for Metroid Prime 4, right?
Yes.
Like, it looks incredible, it feels incredible. Like, it feels, like sometimes when remakes or remasters come out and they do all these quality of life changes and you're like, oh man, this looks and feels exactly how I remember it feeling, but obviously it looks better, and this looks and feels better than I remember. And maybe that's because I played Metroid Prime early last year.
Uh-huh.
Remember when I busted out my GameCube and my Dreamcast and I was sharing all the
Yes.
the screenshots and stuff with you. and maybe that's why. But man, Metroid Prime Remastered, and it's the same with Pikmin 1 and 2 also. Although they're not on my list because they're just kind of HD re-releases of the Wii versions. But uh, man, Metroid Prime Remastered feels real good. Ed, I hope 2 and 3 come out because I actually think because 3 I think kind of I don't remember if people really liked 3 or not. I wasn't really paying attention to Wii games at that point because
Hmm.
you know and I were not friends.
We didn't know each other at that time. And stuff.
So, but what did people like Metroid Prime 3 when it came out?
They did. What they didn't like is all the loading that the game had because you had to jump to different planets, so
Hmm.
everything didn't feel connected. It feel very disjointed and stuff.
Okay.
Uh, but when you're playing the game, it does feel good with the remote and everything. Now, Echoes, Metro Prime Echoes, the second game
Hmm.
that needs the remaster. I that need Metro Prime's controller needs to just be transferred to that game. Remaster controller needs to be get to that because that game is kind of difficult to play on the GameCube with the decisions that they make going to the light and dark world. And I really feel like they could go in and fix that game up. I love Echoes, but Prime, like Metro Prime 1 is just so legendary, and I think they would just try to do too much. And everybody call it the dark and light era of Nintendo. Because Echoes was light and dark, Twilight Princess was light and dark. Uh I think Mario had something like that.
Mario World had the chocolate world when you beat it, and it
Okay.
made it harder to remember if you
Ooh,
remember.
excuse me. Yeah.
So
So um yeah, I Metro Prime 2 definitely need the remaster. And I really hope they give it that treatment and they bring it out because I want to play Echoes so bad because I never got to beat part 2 on it. I got to like the last boss and it just kept kicking my tail and I'm like, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'll just watch the ending on YouTube. And stuff.
hmm,
Which I still haven't done. I haven't watched it yet. So I'm hoping out for Echoes 2 to get that remaster.
nice. I guess back to me, huh?
No, it's
Oh
a
wait, no, it's your turn. I put
yeah.
Metroid Prime on my list.
One last thing I gotta say. I'm sorry. With Prime Remaster, it really made me feel like I wish Halo played like this. And I think the Halo collection,
Well, I would
it
say Halo 1 is probably the one that feels the most like Metroid Prime.
yeah, that's what I'm getting. I feel, but it's just like man, I think I kind of want to. I may have to go back to Halo 1 and see if it feels fixed in the Halo collection.
Hmm.
Um, and stuff. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
yeah.
Uh, well, my number 6 is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. This is from Platinum Games and Nintendo. I can't say enough about this game. The music, the graphics, the voice acting, the story, like it's so good, and it's just like I love this side of Platinum Games. Like it just shows them that they can do something different. They can still give you action, but they also could do like puzzles and like really make you care about the level that you're in. It's just like the art style they went with, and I should have nominated this game for best art direction. I really should have. It now just hits me. But Bayonetta Origins has some beautiful artwork, like drop dead gorgeous artwork. And I'm like, Platinum Games, how did you guys do this? What did you and Nintendo talk about for this art style to be applied? And it's just gorgeous in emotion. It didn't get the love from a lot of people, and that's due to March was a packed month of greatness. Of just a good googly moogly. How am I going to get this? Because I'm like, you had Bayonetta, you had Resident Evil 4, which took the talk. You had Kirby, and then it was just like, man, how do I get to play all of this? Um, and stuff. And so it was just such a crazy time. And the bad thing about it is that it dropped, and then a few weeks later, Advance Wars Reboot Camp dropped. So it was kind of hard for Nintendo to be like, how do we put out these two games and everybody have the time to get them and play them? And stuff. And people were still picking up Resident Evil 4 and playing that remake. So, but Bayonetta Origins to Resident Lost Demon, it is a must play. If you, I advise people to try the demo. If the demo don't sell you on it, then fine. But the game itself is just it's mwah. This is what I want more from Platinum Games. And I was actually thinking about this, Corey. I think Platinum Games have been quiet enough that I think they're developing maybe one or two games. I think their next game
Well,
is
we know they
dropping
have
on
two.
Nintendo.
We know they have at least two games in development. I'm hoping one of them is the Astral Chain sequel.
I I was thinking that, but I think Astro Chain 2 is gonna be for their next system. I have a feeling.
Yeah, man, Astral Chain really good, man.
So good. Yeah. But yeah, that's my number 6. So now, everybody, we are at our top 5 games, and we're gonna start with our number 5. Corey, what is your number? What's your 5th game?
All right, so I want to make a caveat, or I have some things to say about this game specifically. So where did my list go? Hold on, I gotta where did it go? There it is. Okay, so where did you go? Okay, so my number 5 game is Hogwarts Legacy, specifically the Nintendo Switch version. So I primarily played this on Xbox Series X when it came out in February. It's an amazing game, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
not, I don't, I feel like the last time, very few games, I would say the last time I felt the way I do about Hogwarts Legacy was when Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out. And then before that, Breath of the Wild. There are a handful of games, I would say, quote unquote, modern games that I think about often. It's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's Breath of the Wild, it's Destiny, games like that, right? Hogwarts Legacy has joined that company of games
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I played the Switch version after I beat the Xbox version, and I haven't finished it yet. I'm nowhere near the end, but just being back in that world in this pocket sized version of it, and the game is, you know, essentially entirely there except for a few, like, okay, well, they've clearly had to, you know, I mean, this is an Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 game, so they've had to do some texture downgrades, and when you have to load into caves and stores and Hogsmeade and the castle, right? But essentially the entire game is still there, and it's incredible that not only did they pull it off, but it's what we used to talk about with Doom and Wolfenstein
Mm-hmm.
and The Witcher, like these third party ports that have essentially taken these massive games, like PC benchmark games, right? Especially when you're talking about Doom, uh, and putting them on this device that's essentially like a 5-year-old cell phone at this point, right? I mean, the Switch's hardware is 10, 12 years old inside at this point, and the fact that Avalanche and the team that ported it, I don't remember who ported the game, and I apologize that I don't have that offhand. I'll look it up in a minute. Uh, that they put this entire game, this amazing game, and put it on the Switch in its entirety is awesome. Hogwarts Legacy is not only my favorite game that I think maybe that I played this year, but it's going to go into a list of I play, like a top 25. If we were to make a top 25 or 50 games of all time,
Hmm.
it would appear on at least one of, if not both of those lists.
Well, we definitely are doing the top 25 for Switch. Like
Yeah,
later
we'll get
on,
there.
like we're gonna get there, and um, I can't say because I'm playing the Series X version. I haven't gotten too far. I need to pop it in. Avalanche did a fantastic job. They really did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I am, like I said, I am going to be playing more of it, but I was kind of mad and disappointed that the Switch version got delayed, but it seems that that delay was needed to bring out the quality of this game
Hmm.
and everything, because people who are playing it on Switch, they got it, people, some people got it for Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and they're kind of enjoying it and stuff. Not many people return to it, but from what people have been experiencing on the Switch version, they really been enjoying.
Yeah. So I just, shout out Avalanche actually did it in house. It looks like, according to a quick Google search. So, I mean, congratulations to them. I think it's an incredible port. I think it's an incredible job. Uh, obviously, if you want a better quality version of the game, you're going to play it somewhere else. But if you have a Switch and you like Harry Potter and you're looking to be in that world some more, like, this is a better than good port, I'll say. So,
I
in
think
my
that
experience, it is. So,
I think that's why they delayed the Switch version.
yeah.
Um,
Well, they
and I
delayed the
think they,
Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions too, remember?
yeah,
So,
but I think it's because they had to work on the Series X and PlayStation 5 version, and then I think they after they got done with that, they started working on the Switch version and
mhm,
everything. Uh, and I they probably felt like it was a business decision for them and everything that they couldn't do all three versions at the same time
yeah.
and stuff. It's the Wolfenstein, not Wolfenstein. It's the Doom Eternal thing in the sense that they had to focus uh on the Xbox version and then do it for Switch and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but
So,
that's good.
congratulations to Avalanche, by the way. Best-selling game of 2023 over Call of Duty, the first time in a long time that they um, that Call of Duty or a Rockstar game had not had not been the best-selling game of the year. So, since what, 2007, I think,
Yeah.
which would have been Modern Warfare, I guess. So,
Is it bestseller for third part from a third party perspective or
it's the best-selling game of the year.
dang, I wonder how many sales they have.
I mean, I can look it up. I mean, let's see, Hogwarts Legacy. Oh my gosh, come on, Legacy sales numbers. Okay. Um, right now, this was well, as of May 2023, it sold 15 million copies. So,
Okay.
how many copies? Yeah. So I'm guessing it's probably closer to 22, 23 million. Probably more than
Okay.
that at this point. We'll know when whenever NPD, not NPD, releases their numbers for the year in a couple days. So by the time we record the next episode, it'll probably be out and we'll know. But that's impressive. It's incredible.
Surprised that Tears of the Kingdom didn't beat it. Hasn't beaten it yet.
Well, this game's on 6 platforms and Tears of the Kingdom's on 1. So,
Yeah, but
you know,
Tears did like 10 million. I
I
wonder.
mean, it's at Tears of the Kingdom's at 19 million. So, It's more than that.
Oh, so how's
I mean, that was in May. It's January now, so they had 7 months to beat it.
and they probably did.
So,
That's what
Ed,
I was
what's
just
your number
saying.
five?
Oh. Well, my number five is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. By of course Way Forward and Nintendo. Like, of course Way Forward has to be on the list. And this game is so funny. And I will say this, and the reason why I put it as my number five, I've never played Advance Wars on Game Boy Advance. I have one of the games, but it wasn't the first or the second one. It was like one of the later ones. And I just never, had a chance to sit down and try it. But I love the voice acting in this game, the animation. It really is just funny. It's like, but it's a great strategy game, but it's just so funny and everything. And Wait for it just knocked it out the park, and I'm so happy for what they did. I feel like they were a great choice. Um, to work with to remake this game and stuff. So I kind of have a feeling that they may be doing more Advanced Wars games in the future. I hope they do.
Yeah.
Um
I wonder if they'll do Battalion Wars or Wii Wars or whatever, or Dual Strike
ooh,
at all.
I hope so. I really do hope so. But yeah, that's my number five, Advanced Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2. I'm still playing the first one. I haven't got into the second one yet. I'm trying to like make sure that my strategies are right. I did get beat in some of them, but that's the challenge that I love, to be like, okay, I did this wrong. How do I go back and fix it and everything? And I've been
Hmm.
working on some good strategies. So, number five, Advanced Wars Reboot Camp 1 and 2. Congratulations, Ray, for it. Like, and I
Hmm.
gotta say, I'm looking so forward to this new Contra by them. I'm so ready for this new Contra game.
Yeah, I forgot they were doing that. Uh, so, oh, I didn't. That's not what I wanted. Okay. So before I get to my number four, Ed, I'm the best selling games of the year. Hogwarts Legacy is number one. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is number two. Number three is Tears of the Kingdom with an asterisk because it does not count digital sales. So that's
Okay.
where we're at. Marvel or Spider Man 2 is number four, and Madden is number five.
Because all the other ones have physical and digital sales, just not
Hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom. Okay.
Yeah, Nintendo games do not have physical or digital sales attached to them.
Digital sales. Okay.
Mario Wonders at number 15. I like how they have Final Fantasy 16 on here, and they use an image of Final Fantasy 15.
Wow.
uh, this is GameSpot, also, by the way. So whatever.
Well, I think Wonder is at 5.3 million
Uh,
plus.
I
I
think
think.
it's more than that. Uh,
Because
I don't
I
know.
know Spider Man did the 2.5.
Right
Like
now,
they hit that record.
um, as of November 8th, Mario Wonder has. Wait. Oh, it released on October 20th. I was like, I thought it released in November, but that was Mario RPG. Uh, so as of November 8th, it has sold 4.3 million copies, which I'm sure it's maybe hit six or seven at this point. All right. Anyways, back to my list.
Yes,
Number four, speaking of Super Mario Brothers Wonder, that is my number four game. It's charming. It's cute.
Corey.
What?
Corey.
What?
It's my number four also.
Ah, okay. So we'll just have this. I mean, our. Okay. So I really like this game. I don't. I like it because it is an amazing 2D Mario game.
hmm
I still have yet to find why this is so different from new Super Mario Brothers. I mean, it feels a little bit different. Has the only like real power up that feels quote unquote different is the elephant suit, but like I don't I think the badge system is a great uh innovation. I think it's a great addition. I love the floating hat
Hmm.
one. I think that's great for especially like if you miss a platform, you just hit that and then you can kind of float back to it. But I don't really think it's that much different than like a new Super Mario Brothers or classic 2D Mario games. It's an amazing game and it's an amazing 2D Mario game. Uh, but in my opinion, it's not higher on my list. Not that 4 is a terrible spot or anything, but
Right.
because I don't think it does enough different to make me want and like the Wonder Seed stuff. Like everybody's telling me like the Wonder Seed stuff is amazing. I'm like, or it's like when you go down a warp or go up a warp pipe and you end up in the sky and it just changes the level a little bit, or you have to sprint across a bridge and not get hit, or you know what I mean? Like it just the Wonder Seed thing is confusing to me a little bit in in terms of like why people think it's so amazing. Uh, but at the end of the day, this is a great Mario game. It's a great 2D Mario game. I love playing it. It's just you feel good when you play it. The soundtrack is amazing. Uh, it's just an incredible game, incredible level design. Uh, playing as the different characters gives you a sense of like this is kind of the way they want to go with these characters in terms of design and how they sound and what they are doing. Right, it's fun to play as other characters other than Mario. So yeah, Mario. I mean, Ed, you're the Mario guy on this podcast.
Yes. Um. So it does. If it feels better than the new Super Mario Brother games, and definitely the way that it looks, the detail colors, the animation, for it, the Wonder Seeds is a big, huge help to this game because it changes your idea of the gameplay. It's not just your typical hold the B button down, run and jump kind of thing to get to the fast levels and connect it. No, it literally changes the perspective, and it includes other games. You know, Sunset Riders is a game from Konami, and there's a level where you're running on bulls and stuff. And one of the Wonder Seeds, one of these kind of dinosaur looking things with the blue shorts and stuff. I forgot their names and stuff. You know, they all come and like make that same train and knock over the poles and stuff. The piranha plants are singing a song, and they pay so much attention to detail that when you kill one of the piranha plants that's singing, the music that's playing changes its score. Like notes drop out from it. And it's just like, oh, they really thought about a lot of this stuff. You know, racing the Wriggler and everything. It's just like it's so good on everything they thought of. Like when you're like on the fast kind of pedal thing where you're at the bottom or top, you know, they kind of got that from Super Mario 3D World, and they implemented it on into this game and stuff. And it's just so wonderful to see this game in motion because it does get challenging. Even though yes, the badges do help, it does get challenging in this game. So I love the fact that Miyamoto allowed the team to really go in and you know, bringing a flower, singing or helping out, and just all of this other stuff, allowing them to be creative to take the Mario 2D platformers to another level. You know, the battle with I think it's Daisy and the footballer enemy from Super Mario World when they're pushing the pipe and stuff. Like that's so cool that they thought about that and stuff. So I think it just feels so different than Mario, the new Super Mario Brother one, new Super Mario games, because those, even though people say it's floaty and stuff, I kind of feel like that one. it's not a one trick pony, but it just showcase what multiplayer can do and how you can play with that game with your friends. This one, when you do have multiple people helping you, there's levels where you need to find certain items and coins and stuff in order to get the wonder seed to progress and stuff. And because you're a particular person, if you have other people who are other characters, their powers or whatever can help reveal stuff to get to for everybody to progress do the level and everything. So they really thought about a lot of the stuff in this game. So that's why it is also my number four. I do love this game. I'm gonna get back to it and finish it. It's just like you said, that soundtrack. It takes you in just the first level with the acapella harmonies and like it's calm jazzy calypso kind of feel, so it does have that, that catchy tune, but yet it mixed in Super Mario Sunshine, uh watery beachy jazz influenced calypso music also, and it works so well. I know I'm the Mario guy. It's just, this game makes me laugh and it makes me happy, so it is my number four. Super Mario Brothers Wonder also.
Hang on. Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, Mario Wonder, man. It's a great game. It's a must play in my
Yeah.
opinion.
and
For sure.
and if you really want 100% it, those like in the sky star challenges and stuff, they are no joke. They are no joke at all. They will kick your tail.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Ed. My number three. My number three this year is Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is.
Okay.
I mean, you know how I feel about the first Pikmin. This game feels like a natural evolution of the first game,
Hmm.
where I kind of had some issues with the way that, especially 3, 2 to an extent, but 3 really. Uh, and I'm glad that this was a big return to form for the series. Ochi was a great addition. I like that they utilize different Pikmin in terms of like using the ice Pikmin to freeze the water so you can walk across it. And then, the blue Pikmin can go in the water and, all that types of stuff, right? Red can handle the
Yes.
fire and the elemental stuff is really great. Some of the boss fights, quote unquote boss fights, are challenging, but also like really fun to kind of like, oh, I'm going to take 20 ice Pikmin and freeze him. And then I'll use the red Pikmin to like beat him up, and try to get them out before he, the boss kind of comes back from being frozen, or throwing the red Pikmin at the little, I call them the white elephants, the ones with like the, like the red snouts that kind of blow fire on you.
Yeah.
Uh, Ochi does not like them, but it's fun. It's really adorable and fun and great. And I hope everyone tries Pikmin 4 because it is incredible. And now all
Did you
four games are now on the Switch, so you have no excuse not to play Pikmin.
did you have Ochi catch on fire?
Yeah, sorry, Ochi.
I screamed and dropped the controller. I'm like, no, Ochi. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
Ochi. Get out of the way. But yeah, Pikmin 4, man, it's an incredible video game. If there was no Mario, Mario or Zelda game this year, like it's. I mean, it's better than, to me. It's better than Mario Wonder in a lot of ways. They're so close. Like I swapped them back and forth probably 3 or 4 different times today. Going over
Oh
my
wow.
list, it's like whatever mood I'm in, that's the better game at this point.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
thirsty.
All right.
It's been a while since we
Well,
podcasted, so my throat is getting drier earlier,
yeah.
and oh,
Well, My number three is Octopath Traveler 2 by Acquire and Square Enix. Forget the battle system. It's the same as Brevity Defaults.
Throw it
Don't
out.
even worry about that. This game and the stories that they tell, the characters, this soundtrack should be soundtrack of the year. I'm sorry, Nintendo. Y'all put out some amazing music, but this is soundtrack of the year. This game is so good. The voice acting for every character, their backstories, the boss fights are challenging. I will say that, but like the special moves and the strategies you use, the world is beautiful. With the reveals are really good, and it's just like, wow, you guys really improved from the first game. With the second game, and it's one of the games that everybody must play. If you love RPGs or JRPGs, if you want to put that, but if you are a lover of RPGs, this needs to be in the collection. I was thinking of rebuying it on PlayStation 4, but I'm hoping it comes to Xbox because I have Octopath Traveler on Series X, and
Octopath Traveler 2 is coming to Xbox next year.
I hope. Or I mean this year?
Oh yeah, this year. Whoops.
Yeah, I hope so because I'm ready to. I'm not gonna get the. I know they probably won't do physical for it, so I'm fine doing digital. I'll pay another $60 or whatever I need to pay because I want to give the. I want to get. I hope this. I want to get the achievements for this game. But good googly moogly, just it's like when you put your headphones on and you're listening to the soundtrack, you are I will say this, make sure you got some really good headphones. I use my Sony Bluetooth headphones for my Switch, and just the orchestra, just the music, the vibe is just, it's so beautiful and it's so luscious with the way that this world looks. This may be the best 2D HD looking game I have seen. I have not seen Dragon Quest 3 yet. I'm waiting for them to show more of that. But good googly moogly, this game, it's just like it needs to be on everybody's list for game of the year nominations or just like favorite game of 2023. It is that deeply good, and like uh people did not expect this game to be this improved over the first one. So my number three is Octopath Traveler 2.
Hmm.
Corey, what is your number two?
All right, here comes my eye roll one, Ed. Okay, everybody's gonna eye roll, but I don't care. This is my list. So this game hit 1.0 this year. Had a major expansion this year, or in 2023, I guess. Man, it's gonna be so hard to do that for the next, like, by the time I get used to saying 2024, it's gonna be 2025. But I've put so much time into this game, and there's so much love and detail and dedication in this game. Disney Dreamlight Valley
Well deserved.
is my
Well
number two
deserved.
game, and I can literally feel everybody's eyes rolling that we talk to and whatever. But it's my go-to satisfying, I need a break from things game, and I haven't played A Rift in Time yet. I am trying to kind of wrap up the main quests, although I'm like
Mhm.
only halfway there apparently. So I was looking it up. Uh, but I love hanging out on the in the valley and redistributing my villagers to where they need to go. I have Wally tending a garden for me. Moana goes and fishes for me. It's just a fun, cozy game that I actually may stream a little bit this year. That's one of the things on my gaming resolutions. Like after we move, I want to stream a little bit here and there, and I don't know, do different types of YouTube content. But uh, I don't really know what else I can say about this game but it's fun and I love it. And so, yeah, Disney Dreamlight Valley is my number two game.
Oh shoot, I love every story that you talk about this game and what you do. I really do because I have told you that you are a well organized, strategic person. You know how to get things done. You know how to invest the time and stuff, and so it makes the game manageable and fun for you. We talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon so much and everything. And that's the kind of stuff that I love when I hear about it. That, when people invest time in the games and what they get out of it. Because I can't do stuff like that. I try, and my patience might wear thin to be like, hurry up, I want to get this. I'm a person that will, like the way that you do in Destiny, how you would grind for stuff. I do that in role playing games. I can't do it in games in like strategic games and stuff. But I
Yeah.
love the stories that you talk about with that game and giving the updates and stuff. I have Dream like I have the game too on my Switch. I need to invest more time into it, and I think it's a game that I think I need to just sit down, just like you, have a day of chilling and vibing out and invest more time into it and stuff. So that's awesome.
I mean, that's the biggest thing is that it's just the time commitment to even just to get started is a lot. But
Hmm.
then once you like figure out the mechanics of the game and get rolling, it's like, like if I ever lost my save, I don't know if I would go back to it because I've invested so much time into it.
Yeah,
But, you know,
just get it back on Xbox. It's probably in the cloud somewhere.
yeah,
Hopefully. So,
hopefully. Yes.
well,
There's two clouds
everybody.
actually
Oh, that is true.
because I
Switch
have it,
and
well, three actually, because I have it in my Xbox cloud. I have a save, and then I have it in my Switch cloud save because it's cross save. But then
yeah.
there's also the Game Loft cloud because I created a Game Loft account to connect the two versions.
Oh wow, I forgot all
So
about that. That's
so like the
cool.
game, if you play it on Switch and if you play it on Switch and then you save it and then you go log in on Xbox, when you hit continue, it'll prompt you and it'll ask, "Hey, do you want the Game Loft cloud save, which is the most recent, or do you want your cloud save that's saved to the Xbox?" And like it knows which save to pull from. If
Mhm.
you it'll prompt you to ask you, but it knows which is the most recent save. So, which is nice.
I'm gonna have to do the game loft one just to have it and
Yeah.
everything, just in case.
So,
But that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, everybody, my number two is, and some people might have their hearts broken about this,
Dude, my number
because of
2 is
where it's
Disney
placed.
Dreamlight Valley. Nobody's going to be mad at you.
Well, it's the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It's my
Oh,
number two.
shocker.
I love this game. It's a perfect 10. I'm the last that I got the engineering that I seen people do. Seeing that tree get out of the ground and chase me, where I was just like, this is the equivalent, Corey, of you being scared to play a horror game, survival horror. I was just like, ah, and I'm running with the quickness, knowing good and well my stamina bar is not big. It gives me Dragon Quest feels and stuff. Finding the tree. The game is so fun to get into, and some of the music in some of these towns. Oh, it's marvelous. I there's times that I put the controller down just to hear the music and just realize the life in the world that is surrounding me. Still seeing the dragons and exploring, just I haven't even explored the sky or the depths. I'm still just on the land exploring what it has to offer. And it's beautiful. It's like, and I understand that it's the same map or world as Breath of the Wild, but there's so much that they changed in that game. Uh, I did an article of, before the game got released, all the trailers and information that they provided that people could get is on Boss Rush. You guys can check it out. And when I ended up getting the game and playing it, it was one of those. It was just one of those things that, how do I talk to people about this game? Even though they are experiencing different things, it was really hard to talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Even after we seen Ganondorf's revealed and stuff like that, it was kind of hard to talk about this game because everybody was playing it and it was just showing so much. And like I said, the fuse and jumping into the ceiling and coming out, it just like there's so much in this game. And then reading that there's going to be a college course taking this game and using it as one of their studies for an engineering class, like that's cool. And people are still building stuff and finding stuff about this game. So my number two is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Check out the book club, everybody, that Stephanie, Pat, and Corey did with that game. You will really enjoy it.
It's a
It's
three
such
parter, so
it's a
strap in, I guess.
yes, it is such a marvelous game. Like it is phenomenal. Like I it really not win. I used to say Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Wind Waker was my favorite. I think Tears of the Kingdom now has become or is my favorite Zelda game of all time. And I love, trust me, I love Twilight Princess. I love Ocarina of Time. I love even the first Legend of Zelda. People know how crazy I go over the between the Link Between Worlds and Zelda 3, A Link to the Past. Like I love all the Zelda games, but Tears of the Kingdom is literally my all-time favorite now. But there's a reason why it's number two.
Hmm.
So Corey, what is your number one?
Well, my number one is Tears of the Kingdom, and it's so I've been playing it a lot again recently, just because I've had the not only had the itch to go back, but also like it's an incredible video game uh, that I think there are things in that game. Yes, there are things in that game that are not for me, right? Like the building kind of sucks, and in my not in terms of like the mechanics, but just like it's not for me type thing, you
Mm,
know. And I think what they did with the world that already exists is fascinating. The things that they added to, and obviously like the sky stuff and the depths. Like I know those are more of like resource grinding areas for the most part. I
mhm,
mean, there's puzzles and shrines and whatever in these areas, and but like for the most part, those are like you're grinding for the like the Zonai stuff and to build whatever. And I think this game is a masterclass and it's the same as Breath of the Wild, although for me Breath of the Wild's a little bit better just because of the simplicity of it. Um, and I think this goes a little too far in the direction of being complicated, but um, at the same time, you can't fault them for doing that because of I mean, there's a plethora of reasons. Like you, it feels like the Fortnite Minecraft generation kind of not invading Zelda, but like adding. They're taking what those games do best and what people like about those styles of
mhm,
games and seeing how they can fit into a Zelda world, right? And it's kind of neat to see in a way. And so I think Tears of the Kingdom is probably the better game, all things considered. The story is definitely better, I would say. Uh, Zelda is a really interesting character, and her story, and meeting the Zonai, and Minoru, and like the rest of the Zonai characters. Right? It's the story is better, and I actually really like how it kind of guides you in a way more than Breath of the Wild did, where Breath of the Wild kind of just lets you go. When you in Tears of the Kingdom, you have that very linear beginning,
Hmm.
storytelling of, obviously Ganon's awakening and whatever. But then like it tells you where to go after that, essentially, if you want to continue the main quest, which Breath of the Wild didn't do. And so I appreciated that, especially having to already explored this world essentially once, at least the mainland, right? Like you kind of know your way around and everything. I also think the shrines are better designed. I think the puzzles are better. Um,
Yeah, 100% agree with
I
that.
I think the shrines are impeccable in this game, and Breath of the Wild had some great shrines too. But a lot of the times you get stuck in the tests of battle or the motion ones where you have to roll the ball a specific way, and I have yet to encounter anything that I haven't liked. Even the building ones to an extent are like not. I don't dislike them as much as I dislike the mechanic in the open world, right? So,
Hmm.
um, and also the dungeons they're amazing. The dungeons are amazing. The fire temple specifically is
Yeah.
incredible, and I like especially the sky temple. Like you have to make your way to the sky temple is almost like getting to the temple is almost like a puzzle in and of itself, which is really awesome. So shout out to Nintendo for just making this world even deeper. I know this is kind of our last hurrah in this version of Hyrule, and with these versions of Link and Zelda, you know, presumably. I mean, I know they said that they weren't going back to this world, but um, I I'm really happy that we got two games with these characters. This is definitely my favorite version of Zelda by far. Like the character Zelda by far. Um, and I hope they whatever Zelda comes next, they take a lot of this version of Zelda and implement it into the next one. Um, so Tears of the Kingdom is a special game, and I mean, I would say all three of these games in this series, I would say even Age of Calamity, which would be the third game, I guess you would include in this Breath of the Wild era of the Wild, I
Hmm.
guess is what some people are coining it. These are special characters. This is a special world. I haven't felt like this since Twilight Princess, to be honest, and we only got one game. Uh, so yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is my number one game without a doubt.
Good goodness. To have Nintendo revisit Twilight Princess,
Oh
like to
man,
make a sequel, I Corey, I wouldn't know what to do.
yeah.
I definitely would be like, oh, of course we need to like switch re-release of it, like of the or the Wii U version. Like that's no problem.
I think
But
we're gonna get that at some point.
but I
Next, I bet we get them next year. To be honest, because they already said they want to release a Zelda product every year,
mhm.
and I've been seeing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom love recently. Not that that indicates anything, but I always like to see that, and I don't know, maybe we'll see something, but you know,
Mm.
what's your
Well,
number one,
everybody,
Ed? I'm really shocked that it's not Zelda. No, I'm not. It's you. What am I saying? It's probably some uh odd Japanese game nobody's ever heard of, and I don't
are you sure?
know. I'm not sure.
Okay, you should already know this one. This is a given, Corey.
I mean, you said that the last time, and I forgot. It's a game that I forget exists all the time. So yeah.
Everybody, my number one game is Pikmin 4.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Corey,
It was not what I thought.
Ochi.
Is that your
The
only?
game the game looks gorgeous. Like I said, I screamed when he caught on fire. And my feelings were like literally hurt. I apologized to a fictional character on the TV screen. Uh and I did beat it, and I can't say anything until you beat the game, Corey. Uh but like all the different Pikmin, even just like the world, and seeing that Nintendo used Unreal Engine 5. Miyamoto had his
It's
part,
4,
had
Unreal
his
Engine
parts.
4.
It's 4? I
Hmm.
thought it was 5. Okay. Um, well, Unreal Engine that they use 4. Okay. Uh, Miyamoto, like having his influence with the team and everything. And like I said, the underground dungeons feel like Zelda dungeons. Even with the bosses. And it was just like I said we did our game, kind of like our game of the year kind of thing, and right up on Boss social media, so you guys can check that out also. And I put that Miyamoto. It feels like Miyamoto ideas, his developments, just the way that he made games was back and stuff. Because I miss Miyamoto developing games. I miss his creativity, his hands and stuff. Like I really do miss that because I could feel it when I play it to be like, yeah, this is a Miyamoto thing and stuff. And the dungeons literally feel like old school Zelda dungeons. The boss fights, the puzzles, the mechanics and stuff. It's so good. The world looks beautiful. Uh, the battles against Olimar. Uh, it's fun and everything, going against the computer and uh just like the people that you rescue and the items that you find. It's so good. Like Ochi could equal 100 Pikmin picking up a watermelon and taking it to the ship. Like it's so good. And then the overnight stuff, it's the overnight stuff, like the zombie stuff is fine. I didn't really do much in it because I 100% it all 4 levels in this game. 4 or 5. Or I think it's 4. But there's more levels in the after game. So, but I won't spoil everybody on what they are. Uh I 100% it. I love the fact that I just don't have 30 days or a time limit. I could literally go in and spend time explore the land, open up new places. Like I love the fact that they give me time to do a lot because these places are big. And I love the fact that when I go underground, the time freezes on the top side. Like I love all of that. Like I said, Ochi is the best new character of the year for me. I want a plushie of him, Amiibo. If Nintendo put out a plushie, Corey, you would not see me for a bit. I will put this podcast on hold so I can pre-order one and have it shipped to me if need so. Uh, Cause this Pikmin 4 is just everything. It is the I love Pikmin 3 because of how beautiful the graphics is. I love Pikmin 1 and 2. I respect them what they did. Pikmin 4 is the game of 2023 for me. Like
Yeah, it's
there's no other game that comes close to it.
yeah. Pikmin 3 is definitely the definitive version, the definitive Pikmin for sure.
Yeah, just Pikmin 4, like it was hard because like I said, I love Tears of the Kingdom, I love Octopath Traveler, I love the games that I got on my list. But I play Pikmin 4 every day straight. And I have been waiting on you, Corey, to get it so we could talk about it more to see what we doing and stuff. Even though you did get it a little bit later and I was done with the game. I could not stop playing this game. Like even when I got home from work, even every time we got done with the podcast, I loaded that game up and I was playing. Like, and then seeing all these other people playing the game and loving it and stuff. It was just amazing, and it's that joy that Pikmin 4 gave me that made it my number one. So my number one Nintendo game of 2023 is Pikmin 4.
Nice. It's a good game.
We we got a really good list. Uh Pikmin 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Octopath Traveler 2, Super Mario Wonder, Advance Wars 1 and 2, Reboot Camp, Bayonetta Origins, Disney Illusion Island, Have a Nice Death, Metroid Prime Remaster, and Star Ocean is my top 10 games.
Yeah, my top 10 Tears of the Kingdom, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Pikmin 4, Mario Wonder, Hogwarts Legacy, Metroid Prime Remastered, Sea of Stars, Super Mario RPG, Fire Emblem Engage, and Lunark is my list. So,
Yes. Corey, are we doing any honorable mentions or anything, or are we saving that one?
I think we'll probably just save it at this point.
Okay.
I think we'll probably talk about it on Expansion Pass, honestly. Honorable
Okay.
mentions. So I this was another incredible year of video games. I don't
Yes.
really know how 2024 can top it. There were so many great things to look forward to in 2023 that I really have no idea what's coming in 2024. Really, I mean, let's see, and we'll get into this on the next episode for sure. But uh, obviously, what we have: Princess Peach Showtime, the remake of Mario vs Donkey Kong, Luigi's Mansion, that another Code Recollection, is that what it's called, in
Yeah.
January? Uh,
I think that one got. Is that the level 5 one?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that one got delayed
did it?
a little bit into 2024. Yeah, because
Oh,
people thought it got delayed to 2025, and there was a translation mishap, so they
well, let's
delayed it
see.
to this year. But I think it's sometime this year. I don't know. Oh
Well,
no, another code. That's the Nintendo game.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I
you
was
were
thinking
talking about
of
Rain
the
Code.
Raincoat came out this year. It was
Yeah.
it was the other one that level 5 did. It was that detective one.
Okay. So let's see. For Switch, we'll have in January, and again, we'll go over all this in a more detailed fashion on the next episode. But in January, we'll have Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. We'll have another Code Recollection, uh,
I need to download that demo too
and
for
Turnip
that game.
Boy Robs a Bank. And then in February, we'll have. Let's see. I'm just kind of going through this real quick in a quick skim. We'll have Azaret, the Jewel of Faramore. Must be some sort of indie game. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Um, there's just Skull and Bones still has Stadia listed next to it in February. It's funny. Uh, and then we'll have the Star Wars Dark Forces remaster in February. So there's 4 or 5 games in February. Uh, March will be Unicorn Overlord, Princess Peach Showtime, South Park Snow Day. So yeah, I mean, quarter Q1 is like shaping up to be something really great, and then obviously you have Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario in there somewhere. So yeah,
Yeah. So
well, Ed, 2023 is in the books.
yes, it is.
So I mean, like I said, we'll do our whole Game of the Year thing once our Bossy Awards go out mid-January at some point, but which you can vote on now. Uh, Link will be in the show notes. So vote, go vote,
Yes.
go vote.
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
vote counts.
I've been practicing my voiceover work
Mm,
and everything. I haven't did it in Audacity or anything, so I gotta try to start working it in Audacity, just practicing
yeah,
uh and everything. So
very exciting. Good stuff. Good stuff. Can't wait. Can't wait.
yes. Well, everybody, that's gonna be it for this episode of Nintendo Pow Block. Like I said, we are back in the building. We got an exciting 2024 happening this year. Um, I will say, we don't know how the summer is gonna go, even though it's gonna be Summer Game Fest. Um, that is gonna be one thing. Definitely, we're gonna be planning and talking about way in the future when it gets close to that time. Because if Nintendo drops something during that time that make us drop our jaw, we'll definitely be talking about it. You'll definitely will get the news. So, and
Also,
on.
The
go ahead,
Nintendo
Ray.
Direct might drop while I'm on vacation. Yay!
Uh,
Of
and once
course it
again,
will.
and then will we be texting like last time?
No, I mean what we'll do. I'll take my maybe I'll take my laptop just in case, and I'll throw something together. I mean, we'll do a direct recap show. Maybe you and Stephanie can jump on and do one or something. But
All right.
you know, we'll figure it out. But man, this is gonna be just like the Switch reveal all over again.
That's why I said how we're gonna be texting each other. We're just like, Corey, the trailer dropped.
Yeah,
Did? Yes. Text. Even though you was on vacation, we were just like still going at it. Just like, are we podcasting in text form? Yeah, we are. But with that, everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Go vote for our bossies. For our Boss Rush Media Game of the Year awards. We got some good nominations that you guys are going to be surprised about. Then, everybody, we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
bye. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts.